Alright, welcome back. This is totally not the second attempt at recording this. Welcome back to
This
the
is this
SCP.
is totally not the 20th attempt recording this. It is totally not 9 o'clock right now. We were supposed to start at 7:30.
It's only 8:12. Welcome back to the SCP Files and Zip podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the doctors of the SCP Foundation. We're going to be talking about Dr. Bright, Dr. Clef, and Dr. Kondraki. I think that's how you
otherwise
pronounce his
known
name. That's how you pronounce it.
otherwise known as the troll, the the serious one, and the one that nobody knows about.
Um, eh, he's interesting. We're talking about Kondraki first. So I'm going to
Oh,
send you a
great.
couple of images of Kondraki.
When I think of Kadraki, I always think of like people who are in like the Middle Ages or crap like that, because Kadraki is such a weird name. It's either a foreign name or it's just oh my gosh, why does the first picture look like something you would see at a Pokemon? I mean, not the first picture, second picture.
I don't
Why is
know,
that?
probably because it's made by someone who does Pokemon fan art. I don't know.
Why is he
SCP
always
is
got? Why
all
does he
open
have butterflies?
source.
Oh God, is this guy gonna be like the dude from Heroes who rewinds time and he's like, too many butterflies? Like, oh God, this is making me very
No, that'd
mad.
be ridiculous. He uses the butterflies to kill things.
Ah, yes, fair. Uh, the funny thing is that I've also written a character like that.
So Dr.
That's actually
Kondraki, he joined the SCP organization at age 35, and he is really good at taking pictures. And because of his insane ability to take pictures, he's often assigned to go with field teams out into the dangerous SCP areas and get pictures of SCPs that no one else can get.
hmm,
He is very accomplished, and he has done a lot of research on SCPs. Um, the big one being the butterflies he has flying all around him. Uh,
okay.
Trying to remember. Yeah. So the butterflies he has flying around him are SCP-408, which was probably one of his biggest accomplishments, containing SCP-408. And after he contained 408, or during, I'm not 100% sure. Let's read a little bit of the SCP document. For a large mass of zebra butterflies, when not camouflaged, they act as a single entity at all times. They have a hive mind. He controls all the butterflies with his mind as well. Um, uh, the butterflies have been observed to take on the form and appearance of a number of threatening creatures as a defense method. This includes a pride of lions, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and most notably, the immortal lizard. I'm not sure if they can attack while doing this. I think they just camouflage. Uh, mhm.
Bro, imagine how much of a bruh moment that is. Like, you're about to kill this dude, and all of a sudden the immortal lizard shows up. Like, nope.
Hmm. The swarm prefers to be identified by its SCP number, which is interesting, and it has, I believe, it has an elevated IQ, so it has intelligence. It's discovered in
Hmm.
Brazil during a logging team, like when people were logging in Brazil. Uh,
Right.
After learning it was intelligence, Dr. Kondraki, who was accompanied by agents in the field, communicated with the butterflies and convinced it to accompany him to Site 17, where their current habitat exists. Da, da, da. Hmm. They don't know how the butterflies knew how to take form of the immortal lizard, so there's an investigation into that. Here's a quote from Dr. Kondraki himself. It may be just sugar water, but without it, 408 is prone to mischief, as we clearly saw yesterday. It's fortunate that it does not act maliciously, but I think about other. What am I reading? But think about the other times next time you see the custo. Oof. I'm sorry. This is too far away. I need to move this closer. All right. Where am I? I've lost my space on the page. It's fortunate that it doesn't act maliciously, but think about others next time you slack off custodial duties. Think about yourself as well. I will not tolerate having to use sweet and low in my morning coffee for very long. Basically, they use sugar water to keep it not acting mischievous. And when it
Mm.
doesn't, bad things happen. Dr. Kondraki, during incident 239B, Dr. Kondraki was. I don't want to talk about that yet. Okay.
Mm.
So Dr. Kondraki, as well as being an amazing photographer who gets sent out in the field, taking pictures really hard to get SCPs, and being able to control these butterflies, he doesn't like wearing a lab coat. That's one of his things. He's been employed by the SCP organization for over a decade, and he has been involved with containing numerous SCPs, not just the butterflies. He is a strong advocate for the weaponization of SCPs. In one of those
Oh, great.
in one of those images, it shows him using a sword, which I believe is another SCP, and I believe his camera himself itself is also an SCP. I have his file up.
Oh, for the love of P, it's one of these guys. Dr. Kadraki reminds me of like that dude from Jurassic World who wanted to use freaking dinosaurs in military units. Except in Dr. Kadraki's case, he does have a point. A lot of these SCPs have the potential to kill.
Yeah,
A very effective potential to kill.
yeah, very much. Yeah, basically, the butterflies do illusions. He has a camera, which is SCP-515, as well as the camera is now. Ooh. The camera itself is an amalgamation of different SCP ranging from SCP-143, alloyed metal to blah blah blah, alloyed metal to a lens comprised of SCP-408 cells, end product of the cross testing. I'm reading from the this versus battle wiki, so I'm not sure how accurate this is, but everything in SCP is not fan, open sourced, so technically anything could be true. Uh, yeah, basically the camera itself takes a picture of something's essence. So even if they're invisible or undetectable, the camera still can get a picture of them. Its flash is like akin to like a burst of concentrated sunlight, and it can cause degree burns and temporary blindness when at close range.
Well, screw me. Not only can it take a picture of anything, but it can burn you as well.
Uh, He's also that's kind of a spoiler for later. He also uses SCP-427, which is an amulet that grants the user enhanced regenerative abilities as well as enhanced recovery from illness, poisons. However, it can only be used for an hour total before it turns the user into a hostile Keter class anomalous blob of flesh. Oof.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So basically, what is with all these doctors and having attachments to the SCPs? Like, I get that you know, to some extent, the doctors are probably gonna be fascinated by the SCPs. But freaking Doctor this guy, I forgot his name
Kondraki.
already.
His name
Thank
is
you.
literally in the picture I sent you.
Oh, is it? I'm not looking at it. Uh but Dr. Kondraki is just like, I want to use SCPs for military advancements or whatever. And then Dr. Bright over here is with his amulet that turns people into him. It's just like Jesus. I
Yeah.
don't. remember what Dr. Clef's attachment was to SCPs. I know that he had a daughter that was an SCP, I believe.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about them two later. Dr. Kondraki is a rival with Dr. Clef, though.
I can see why.
Yeah,
Dr.
very similar
Kondraki
in
is
a lot of
cooler.
ways.
Sure. You know, Dr. Kondraki is cooler. That's about it.
Yeah. Dr. Kondraki also uses SCP-295 as a weapon, which is the secretions of a group of anomalous snails, which are far more flammable than regular incineraries. Um, Incendiaries, I can't fucking pronounce words. They can be deployed in canisters as a weapon designed by Kondraki himself. He also has SCP-388, which is a disc that, when thrown, rapidly accelerates to an unknown 3-digit miles per hour speed. It might be meters per second. Sorry, yeah, meters per second speed.
So,
Uh,
people in the comments below, tell us who would win, Dr. Kondraki or Kevin McAllister.
Probably Kevin. It depends how much prep time he gets. Basically,
I
as this
love
thing
it.
is moving dummy speed, it heats up to 3,500 degrees centigrade. It bores through any material it makes contact with before landing several kilometers away from where it was originally thrown.
So, you're telling me that this dude has the Destructo disc?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what the Destructo disc? Flame him, chat. Flame him in the comments.
Okay.
Nah, the Destructo disc is something that Krillin uses in Dragon Ball Z.
Mm,
It is essentially the exact same thing. It's a giant frisbee that acts as a buzzsaw that cuts through anything except for Cell's, neck. That's about it. But yeah, it's a giant frisbee that just bores through anything that it comes in contact with.
mm.
So
So
basically, he has a rapier. That What does the rapier do?
I was looking and I couldn't find.
Oh, okay. So basically, this dude is, dang. I really don't have a good way of, Dr. Kondraki is just on a league of his own because it's just like the powers that he has, or like the things that he's accumulated are so random. Yet I
This
can
is
see
pretty
them
true.
working. Yeah, I can see them working in practically every situation. It's just like, huh.
Trying to.
Doesn't help the fact that his camera just like causes third-degree burns.
Yeah,
So
it's like a flashbang.
worse than a flashbang.
Yeah,
Last time I checked, flashbangs don't leave third-degree burns on you unless you were in point blank range, and even still, that's a stretch.
this is pretty true. Hmm.
You know,
Oh, it
unless
says
you're
here that
the
he's an
flashbangs from
expert
JoJo.
swordsmanship due to his fencing "quote unquote" hobby, as well as a master photographer. But I don't think his sword itself is an SCP from what I see here.
I'm actually very surprised. I'm surprised that his sword itself isn't like a SCP that says SCP 2988, or that says, this is just like, yeah, when you cut someone with this sword, they instantly get that I forget what it's called, but it's the disease in the royal family that just prevents blood from clotting.
Oh,
You don't tell me you couldn't see it. I could definitely see it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wonder if that SCP was ever a thing. I wonder what would happen if you tried that crap on the immortal lizard.
Oh, I think I actually found it.
Hey, what would happen if you try? You know what? Does Shy Guy attack you if you attack it?
Does Shy Guy attack you if you attack it? Only
Yeah,
if you
like,
look at it.
okay, so basically anybody can punch it in the head
Yes.
essentially, and it won't do a single thing. Have they tried putting Shy Guy in acid?
Yes.
Oh,
They've
he
so Shy Guy has been almost eliminated a lot of times. Its spine and skeleton system is made out of something that's near indestructible, but its flesh itself has been melted away, but it just regrows from that spinal column. I think it might
just
be,
hacks.
yeah, it well, like most SCPs are.
That thing better. The thing is made out of freaking not cubic zirconium. Why can't I think of the thing? It's the thing that Wolverine's claws are made of.
Alumantium,
Adamantium. Thank you. Adamantium.
adamantium.
That thing is made out of adamantium and vibranium. It's an adamantium vibranium mix. It's just I swear that's how most SCPs are. It's just like there's that one part of them that's just indestructible for some reason. It's
So I
just like, oh,
found the story I was looking for. So in current SCP lore, Dr. Kondraki is thought to have been assassinated by the SCP organization because of this incident. He was ordered to eliminate an SCP called SCP-083, which I believe is a humanoid SCP that kind of looks like a dude, but he will, I think, go into a rage or something if he doesn't eat a person every few days. And he was ordered to try to exterminate it. And there's a whole story behind it. And it is a long story, and we're going to be reading it now. I hope we still have
okay.
time to be getting into other, uh, the other two doctors that we want to talk about. But
Which
this is a
means
pretty
tune
long
in next
story.
time, folks, for part two.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. This story is called Duke Till Dawn.
Oh God.
An investigation. Let me move this to my upper monitor so I can read it easier. An investigation was launched into the continued viability of SCP-083. Several factors were taken into account, such as relative danger involved in sustaining containment and cost benefit of the costly procurement of virgin blood on a regular basis. In conclusion, a unanimous decision to terminate SCP-083 was made amongst the O5. That's the highest council in the SCP organization, and handed down to Site
Right.
19 administrators, which Dr. Kondraki is a member of. After researching the difficulties involved in terminating a regenerating superhuman and potential Keter object, the termination was set in motion. The man chosen for the task was an odd standby, a man of great experience and expertise in the elimination of humanoid SCP objects of great destruction potential. Known for his clean, almost surgical method, he was quickly approved to carry out this termination. Let's just say this termination did not have a clean surgical method. Basically, everything that could have gone wrong did, and it still kind of worked, but like not well for the facility even a little bit. Despite
Oh no.
despite urging from his peers and subordinate, Dr. Kondraki was chosen to perform the termination after giving himself proper clearance and approval to do so. Through the loophole he had found in relevant regulations, the O5 grudgingly accepted his self appointment. The O5-8 assured, which is a single member of the O5 Council, assured the board's fears with Dr. Kondraki's impressive credentials and claimed that given such an important responsibility, he might finally take his position seriously. It should be noted here that O5-8 was a new appointment and had not been present for the previous disciplinary actions involving the senior doctor. Okay. Included below are the relevant logs and documentations concerning the Duke termination. No, it doesn't matter. All right. The first containment log. Dr. Kondraki enters SCP-083's containment, he carries a folding table, 2 chairs with him, and proceeds to set up all 3 as originally planned, taking a seat at one end. Dr. Kondraki says, well, isn't this a little, blah, blah, blah. Well, isn't this a little, oh my god. This light is way too bright. It's shining in my eyes, and I don't want this to go completely dark. There we go. Well, isn't this a little, oh my god, why can't I read? Bleh. Well,
Yeah,
isn't this a
fix
little
the bed for you.
accommodation? They treat you well, Duke. Real well for something out of Bram Stoker for something out of a Bram Stoker novel. SCP-083 takes a seat across from him. Well, I must be doing something right, Doctor. You know, come to think of it, I don't think I've seen you around Site 19. Dr. Kondraki says, good, you shouldn't have. Now, let's get on to this interview already. I've got better things to do than chat with a bloodsucker. SCP-083 laughs. I'm not calling you out on your diet, am I? Besides, I asked for the interview, and as you know, I do get what I want. Dr. Kondraki says, sure, sure. Although I remember that you requested a woman. Hope you're not too disappointed, Count. Dr. Kondraki proceeds to light a cigarette and produces a container of a specially treated fluid in the predetermination report. Dr. Kondraki did not specify the contents for security reasons. Probably trying to poison this vampire boy. I can't say that I'm pleased. SCP-083 says, I can't say I'm pleased to accept a brutish specimen of humanity such as yourself over a lovely morsel of femininity. Don't worry, I just have to make it up with Mrs. Redacted once we're finished here. Dr. Kondraki proceeds to unscrew the top from the container and sets it to the side. SCP-083 appears to recoil from the smell. Agent Infred stepped forward to frisk Dr. Kondraki. He swiftly liberated a handgun from Kondraki's person. Agent Infred, sorry, sir, this isn't authorized. Dr. Kondraki said, right, whatever. So why don't you tell me about yourself, Drac? Are you the mythical force of darkness that plagues the psyche of humanity? Or are you just a spoiled man-child playing vampire? Bruh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he doesn't give
Like,
a fucking shit.
let's be real here. There are definitely times, right, where I would definitely support where Kaldraki is coming from. After all, there are different interpretations of vampires over, the period of time. And by the way, just so you know, it's Bram Stoker. But continuing on, um, if this is actually Count Dracula, the one that's based off of Vlad the Impaler,
It
I don't
is.
think that's a. Oh God! Well, that's just
It does not end well.
that's a ballsy thing to say. Like, good God! Like, don't you know what that guy does?
Yeah,
He's called Vlad
this
the
fight
Impaler.
goes like actually insane. Like it is. It is. It ends well for no parties involved.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. If Draki had a captured, Edward from Twilight, I think I would be like, yeah, no, shoot him on sight.
Yeah.
Shoot him. Get rid of him. We don't need him. But
Okay. SCP 083 looks a bit annoyed and he says, I don't think I like your attitude, Doctor, or your lack of respect. Dr. Kondraki blows smoke in SCP 083's direction. Funny, I don't recall giving a shit. Dr. Kondraki proceeds to
the
grab the
balls on this
container
guy.
and splash the liquid onto SCP 083. Far before containment teams and backup agents could get into position. SCP 083. What the fuck did you splash me with? Dr. Kondraki says, cat urine and garlic juice, Bat Boy, with a bit of silver nitrate. Dr. Kondraki flips the collapsible table up into SCP-083 and grabs a firearm from under the table, muttering about always keeping a backup. He discharges his handgun 7 times into SCP-083's chest and neck before producing a wooden stake from his lab coat. The bullets were confirmed to be comprised of a silver alloy. None of these actions had been planned or approved. Dr. Kondraki says, cross that off the list of things I've always wanted to do. Post incident interview with DK083. Interviewer Dr. Redacted. Interviewee Dr. Kondraki. I'm just gonna give the doctor a name because I don't want to see Dr. Redacted all the time. So we're gonna go with Molly. Dr. Molly, at what point did you conclude that SCP-083 might be vulnerable to the same weakness as a stereotypical vampire, despite no previous evidence whatsoever? Dr. Kondraki, honestly, I was guessing. I figured it either...
What? Wait a second. Wait a second.
Yeah?
You're telling me that this guy had the gall, the absolute mad lad. Where's Count Dankula? Because this guy deserves to be on his mad lad list. Like, what? Like, honestly, I was just guessing. I didn't know if onions and silver were going to work on the dude. I just guessed. I'm just like,
Pretty much.
Wait a second.
Yeah, Mance was guessing. What about it?
Oh
honestly, I was guessing. I figured either it worked and I got done early enough to catch some lunch, or I'd have to think fast before he killed me. Dr. Molly says, think fast? That's it? Dr. Kondraki said, well, yeah. I couldn't think of anything else, so I decided to play it by ear. Dr. Molly says, you're saying you made it up as you went along. Isn't that grossly irresponsible considering SCP-083's capabilities? Dr. Kondraki says, well, he's dead, isn't he? I don't have to explain myself if I get the job done. Dr. Molly says, alright, fair enough, but I have to wonder one more thing. Dr. Kondraki says, shoot. Dr. Molly says, why cat urine? Dr. Kondraki says, well, if I was wrong and it didn't work, he'd still be the one covered in cat piss. Didn't think he'd take offense like he did, though.
What a guy. What a guy. Okay, no, this cannot be the end of the story.
Oh, it's not.
This can't. I was about to say, it's like, there's no way.
This isn't even like a fifth of the way done.
Oh boy, strap yourselves in, folks. It's about to get crazy.
And just reading the names of the next people in this, oh boy. Excerpt from post-incident interview. I read that right. Interviewer. And after reviewing the logs, do you think Dr. Kondraki acted recklessly? Dr. Bright. Silence. Interviewer. Dr. Bright? Bright. This tape is undoctored. Interviewer. That is correct, Dr. Bright. Bright. Bright shows signs of agitation, swearing in several different languages and throwing equipment about the room. Interviewer. Dr. Bright, what's the matter? Not only did I bet that asshole $5,000 that he wouldn't be able to throw cat piss at 083, but he didn't even have the good grace to die during the goddamn termination. Do you realize how much I'm going to lose from paying out that? Fuck!
Oh my gosh. What? This just gets better and better as time goes on.
Oh yeah.
So
there's enough.
I have so much, but let's continue because that's great.
At this point in the logs, We are unsure how Dr. Kondraki survived the following moments after he failed termination, due to the destruction of all surveillance equipment beforehand. Security cameras outside of SCP-083's containment show Dr. Kondraki and SCP-083 exiting the containment approximately half an hour later. Forensic examination of the damages incurred with the containment are underway. Regardless, a red alert was issued, and security teams were dispatched to contain SCP-083 and to get Dr. Kondraki to safety, including a mobile strike force, Row 2, the Hawthorne's Heroes. As hindsight shows, it would have been more economical to have just shot Dr. Kondraki. Oh, God.
Well, they're stupid.
Oh, yeah. Let's just say I don't think he actually eliminated the SCP. Dr. Klein Pathos Crow. It is really a pity about old 8-3. I had a couple of things that I wanted to do with him. Like stick him in 914's various settings and see what happens. 194. Why does that sound familiar? 1 second, I'm gonna look up this SCP that you just referenced. SCP-194.
Yeah, let's just like not continue this mad last story. This freaking podcast does not do this story justice.
All right, we're gonna skip over what he said with 194, because it didn't make sense. Did I skip over something? Oh yeah, no, I didn't skip over it. Like stick him in 91. Did I type this wrong? I did type this wrong. Oh shit. Have you seen like some of the like anything from the SCP Containment Breach game?
Yeah, I have.
You know how there's a big old machine that like turns things into other things?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he wanted to stick him in.
Oh my god.
He said I had a couple things I wanted to do with him. Like stick him in 914 on various settings and see what happened. Or see exactly how he regenerated from decapitation. Or how he reacted to 217. I'm not Googling anymore. Or to see if he'd be a good organ donor. Or if he gets cut off. Interviewer, sir, could you please just answer a question?
I'm trying to wait. No, go back. Why the heck would he be a good organ donor? He was a vampire.
Well, he regenerates organs. So if he does have normal human DNA, you can harvest unlimited organs.
That's still not how that works. That the organs are dead. Not only that,
they didn't get a chance to test it.
Not only that, but if you put it in another body, that's a chance of becoming a whole new vampire. Wait, that was dumb.
Which is probably why they didn't test it. Oh yes, well Dr. Kondraki seems to get into these sort of situations. A master of pulling it out of his ass, so to speak. Interviewer, so would you label him as a reckless fan? Yes, without a doubt. Well, so he's potentially a liability. Oh, I never said that. Granted, he's about as inaccurate as faulty hand grenades or something of that ilk. The only safe place to be around him is probably inside him or something, but he gets these things done at the expense of everyone and everything around him. Not sturdy enough to withstand the blast. Interviewer, pause. Professor Klein Pathos Crow. What? He does.
That's like Dr. Kondraki is the best way to describe Dr. Kondraki is just like it's like dealing with a problem by throwing a grenade at it. It's like it gets it done, but in the most messy way possible.
That doesn't even come close to quantifying how reckless this man is. You will see, because now we're going into the security logs of what happened afterwards.
Oh no.
Security log
Oh, no.
CO83K. Dr. Kondraki exits down hallway R14 while SCP-083 pursues. Severe damage caused due to the blindness inflicted by Dr. Kondraki's camera. See SCP-515 ARC. Which caused considerable thrashing until regeneration could set in. SCP-083 recovers and pursues Dr. Kondraki further into the central containment area. Dr. Kondraki, with a small lead, is able to enter the non-sentient object containment and makes his way past two armed guards, flashing his ID. SCP-083 enters the non-sentience containment and kills and drains several nearby researchers, searches for Dr. Kondraki within area, resulting in further casualties. Dr. Kondraki accesses a safe within the containment and removes a circular object and retreats from containment back into hallway R17. SCP-083 continues to pursue and appears to take chase. Moments later, a flash of light is seen by a camera down the hall, and a bright disc-like object impacts the one that you called the something disc. What was it?
The Destructo disc.
Yeah, the Destructo disc. That's what he just used. Impacts SCP-083. SCP-083 loses his legs and falters. Dr. Kondraki stops to observe the damage as the disc, confirmed to be SCP-388, continues through Site 19 and eventually comes to rest 2 kilometers away from the research facility. Dr. Kondraki approaches SCP-083 with a firearm drawn. SCP-083 begins to regenerate and stand up while bracing against a nearby wall. Dr. Kondraki is seen speaking before taking off down hallway Y8. SCP-083 follows shortly, hopping on one leg until the other regenerates. Even seen screaming curses. Log ends. There's an audio log. Audio log 083 -D-K-4. What were you saying?
You know what Dr. Kondraki reminds me of? It reminds me of this panel from Worldbreaker Hulk. So, for a little context, two things, and I don't mean to derail it, but it involves Hulk and Darwin. And Darwin is a mutant that his body can adapt to anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the Hulk at close to his maddest point. And Darwin gets punched, and his body teleports out of there. And Nightcrawler says Darwin's body has reached Darwin's body has reached the conclusion that the best defense against the Hulk is just to not be here, is to be somewhere else. And I feel like that describes Dr. Kondraki in like the best way. The best way to be like safe around Dr. Kondraki is just to not be there.
Yeah, even being his allies is worse for you than just being away.
It's just like, just don't be there. If Dr. Kondraki is around you, just don't.
Pretty goddamn much. Alright, moving back on to the audio log. Dr. Kondraki says, well, at least you got a leg to stand on, Count. SCP-083 says, I'm going to kill you slowly when I get my hands on you. You don't even know what kind of a shitstorm you've gotten yourself into, human. But I'm going to kill you and destroy everything you hold dear. Dr. Kondraki says, what was that? I couldn't hear you all that over all that arterial sputtering. He gestures towards... arterial sputtering. He gestures towards the missing leg. Hey, if this vampire thing doesn't work out, you're gonna make a great pirate. SCP SCP-083 says, in about 5 seconds, my leg is going to regenerate, and I'm going to tear you into fucking pieces. Dr. Kondraki says, break a leg, Drac, and departs. 083 says, I'll tear a chunk out of you for every one of those stupid fucking retorts. Every single one. It was at this point, as Dr. Kondraki exited the area with SCP-083 in pursuit, that MTF-R2 arrived to attempt to restore containment of quote-unquote Duke, SCP-038. The termination attempt had been considered a failure by command, and orders were limited to damage control. Unfortunately, the other security teams were still en route and were never able to assist MTF-R2. The other order hadn't gone out to evacuate all Euclid objects from the sector. They might have been able to, but they didn't. The next security log says Dr. Kondraki makes it to a three-way intersection before SCP-083 begins to catch up. A forklift moving a large metal box is moving up the incline directly to Kondraki's right. SCP-083 rounds the corner, but impacts the forklift, which had been maneuvered to block the hall. Dr. Kondraki is seen at the door of the central staircase at this time. They were on the 15th floor of the facility. SCP-038 proceeds to throw the metal box in a fit of frustration before beginning to move the forklift. Dr. Kondraki flees down the staircase. The metal box opens as it impacts the ceiling, and a large disheveled ball of metal objects is dislodged and begins rolling down the incline. MTF-R2 arrives by way of central stairs to SCP-083's current location. Dr. Kondraki passes MTF-R2. Contact with MTF-R2 is lost because a giant metal ball decided to roll directly towards him like Indiana Jones. Excerpt from post-incident. Oh, this is with Clef. Interviewer. Seriously? No mistakes. Clef. I can't really see that Dr. Kondraki made any mistakes in his termination protocol up to this point. No. Interviewer. Seriously? Clef. None at all. He had a primary kill mechanism, a backup plan, a tertiary plan as well. The fact that his plan didn't survive first contact with the enemy wasn't his fault. The death of MTF Road 2 were a sad and unforeseeable consequence of the Euclid class SCPs being moved. Interviewer. I see. So tell me, Dr. Clef, what if all of this wasn't part of some plan and he had been making it up as he went along? Clef laughs. In that case, sir, I'd say that Dr. Kondraki is a suicidal fool, but he certainly wouldn't have. Interviewer. Pauses. Clef. Wait. He did? Interviewer. I have a copy of Dr. Kondraki's termination procedure proposal. Step 1 of his plan is to use cat urine and a pistol loaded with silver bullets. Backup plans 2, 3, 4, and 5 are as listed. And I quote, wing it, make something up, cross that bridge when it comes to it, and put my head between my knees and kiss my ass goodbye. Dr. Clef. This was so explicit, it is redacted.
Wow.
Yeah, so Clef is like, it's genius. He had tertiary plans. It was fucking great. And then he was like, well, what if he didn't make up a whole plan? Clef was like, well, that'd make him a fucking idiot. Of course he had a plan, right? Interviewer. No. Clef, that fucking retard. I don't know how some people get their positions in the facility.
Well, that will remain a mystery, and honestly, I think it should remain a mystery. Jesus.
Pretty funny though,
So
right?
remember how I said that like Dr. Daki is just like
Kondraki.
is like throwing Yeah, Mondraki. It's just like is like throwing a grenade at a problem. Never mind. It's more like throwing the Sar Bomba at a
No,
problem.
that's more accurate.
just, just. I mean, I guess it gets things done, but in like the worst way possible. Jesus Christ,
Oh,
this dude,
we even have
is
Mobile
just like
Task Force
across the.
R2's combat log. MTF R2-1. We're coming up to the staircase now to SCP-083's last known location. Sounds of a struggle are coming from above. Our intel must be spot on. MTF-2- blah. I'm just gonna say MTF dash whatever, like number agent's talking. MTF 6. He really screwed the pooch on this one. Garlic piss. Where does he get that? MTF Agent 1. Quiet on the approach 6. MTF 3. Sir, incoming subject, humanoid. MTF 9. He's in a lab coat. It's not the Duke. He's running straight towards us. Sir, neutralize him. Sure, neutralize him? MTF 1. Uh, ready subdermal neutralizers. Sorry, that was a hard word. On my... What the hell is that noise? Unidentified. Fuck, shit, goddamn fuck! Get the hell out of my way! Run for your fucking lives! I'm assuming this is Kondraki. MTF-2. He's taking off down the stairs. That must have been Dr. Kondraki. But I don't see SCP-083. Yeah. 03. Oh, yeah, I said that right. What the hell's wrong with me? MTF-1. No contact on Duke to continue up the MTF Agent 5. What the hell is that? It's massive. MTF-1. Open fire. Unintelligible screams. Unknown. It crushed him. Get out of here. Screams continue. Audio cuts out. It was at this point that Command began to realize that SCP-083 wasn't the only threat to Site-19 during this incident. Although at this point in time, SCP-083 had caused death of 17 personnel, Dr. Kondraki had been involved in 3 cases of containment failure. Most of these personnel had been minor employees, making their loss minor in comparison. MTF-R2 would have been found by the site security teams at the bottom of the staircase, completely entangled in SCP-162, which was the giant metal ball that fell down the stairs. With several already having been crushed to death or bled out due to numerous lacerations. The containment of SCP-083 was quickly becoming a distant possibility, and Dr. Kondraki had vanished from visual contact. At the same time, another SCP had breached containment on the opposite side of the facility, and the chaos made details scarce. What? And the chaos made details scarce. Meanwhile, SCP-083 was on a rampage, trying to locate the Doctor. Command was in disarray, and the choice would have been made sooner if it wasn't soon enough. And that is a quote by an O5 personnel. Now, what SCP do you think broke out on the other side of the facility?
Oh man, there are a lot of possibilities. Considering the absolute ludicrous nature of this story. I don't know. The Plague Doctor, probably my best bet.
That's a fantastic guess, but it's also probably wrong. We'll talk about the containment doctor in the next episode that we do, because I find him very interesting. And basically, the game makes him out to be just like a mindless monster. But he's really not. Excerpt from post-incident interview with someone named Iceberg, who I'm assuming is a number researcher. Interviewer. And so, you're of the opinion that Dr. Kondraki handled things recklessly. Oh, yeah, definitely. Would you call him a potential liability? Obviously. He's a danger just walking around. I see. Well then, Doctor, gets cut off. I mean, look at him. The guy's a lunatic. And the one given far too much power. Interviewer. Alright then. Clearly, he needs to be removed from his post. Probably terminated. Dr. Iceberg, that's not... Now you see. Now see, this leaves a slight opening in the head of Research Site 17. A nice job now. You see, with him, God, we need someone reliable to take his place. Interviewer says
Oh
nothing.
God, here we
Iceberg.
go.
And I think I'm just the person to do it. I'm reliable, hardworking, good at hand-to-hand, intelligent, mostly sane, good at organizing. I know over 45. Oh my god. I know over 40 kinds of improvised explosions. I gets cut off. That's quite enough, Dr.
Wait a
Iceberg. I
second. Wait
believe
a
our
second.
interview is over. Interview? You mean this was all recorded? Yeah. And Kondraki will be able to see this. Possibly. I'm gonna need to go write my will.
Wait a second. This is Dr. Iceberg saying this, and he's saying he's sane? What? Listen, there are many things that the SCP doctors can say. None of them can say they're sane, though.
Yeah, this is
absolutely
true.
none of them.
Uh,
Like, each one of them has different levels of sanity, but for God's sake, none of them can say they're sane. Like, at all. But
all the
that's just
doctors that we're
stupid.
going to be talking about,
It's like,
Bright,
wait,
Clef, and Kondraki, they're all pretty much bad shit.
like there's just like, wait a second, you mean he can see this? It's like, yeah, he could totally see this. Why didn't you say that before? One to something.
Now, Clef and Bright both have like solid reasons for being bad shit. Dr. Kondraki, on the other hand, nah, he's just fucking crazy. He's out of his goddamn mind.
Well, that's the
Security.
best kind. You know,
Continue.
the best kind of crazy is just the ones that decide to be crazy. The Joker just decided to be crazy.
This is very factually
There's really
correct.
no reason. Like, there is really no reason. Like, there's no reason for the Joker to go insane. He just went insane. It's just like, okay. And you know what?
Yes.
He's one of the best DC villains, if not the best.
Okay. So we're going to get a little bit further down
What?
on this this
Are you
log.
Are you
And
saying you're not a person who likes the Joker's mentality? You traitor?
he's great. He's great. Anywho.
Mhm. Hey, Andrew, what's your address again?
Oh my god.
Oh.
Anywho. We're going to continue talking about Dr. Kondraki's escapade with SCP-083. We're probably only going to get about halfway through this before we have to cut it for this time, and this will probably have to be a two-parter podcast on just this one dude and this one incident. I'm probably going to rename
Dude, what
this
are you talking
to
about?
just
We're
the...
already almost like 45 minutes in.
Yeah, we're more than that. We're 52 minutes in, which is why I'm going to cut it off soon.
Oh my.
Yeah, we're halfway through and it's been an hour. So we're gonna get a few more logs done, and then we're gonna postpone it. Are you available some other time this week to get another episode done, so we can get a two-parter before the next episode? Keisha? Hello? Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Okay. Are you available sometime this week to get another episode out so we can get a part 2 before the next episode?
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Anyway, I hope everyone's watching is enjoying the podcast. If you guys like this, the best way to show me is to leave a like on the video. Leave a comment saying what you liked about the story. All right, welcome back. Are you available sometime in this week to finish this in another episode?
After school tomorrow, I'm available for the entire weekend.
That's great. Tomorrow's Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
Tomorrow is definitely Thursday, and we're not just adding this in post-production to make us seem productive.
So you want to start at like 5:30 tomorrow?
Yeah, we can start. Well, not 5:30. I would say like more like 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Just because decompress.
That works fine for me.
Because like, oh no, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, let's just that can wait until after. Let's just finish up a few more of these. Oh God. Okay. Security log C-083-K. Visual contact resumed with Dr. Kondraki, seen breaking into a testing lab on the seventh floor, taking possession of an experimental high tension cable constructed from SCP 143 alloy with carbon nanostructures, which is also the SCP that's in his camera as well. SCP-083 seen
Mhm.
arriving on the seventh floor in pursuit of Dr. Kondraki. Security teams arrive to contain 083, but fail to make an impact. Teams 4, 8, and 14 are wiped out. SCP-083 continues on his path. Dr. Kondraki recovers and dons a pair of Converse sneakers recovered from safe object containment. Dr. Kondraki appears to move at an accelerated pace, exits the containment sector, heading down hallway D-3. SCP-083 continues in pursuit of Dr. Kondraki, ruining the containment sector. Is unable to catch Dr. Kondraki due to his enhanced speed, but is able to make up time by bypassing the walls in his path physically. So Kondraki's running really fast with these SCP sneakers, and this SCP is just running through walls to try to catch up. Dr. Kondraki,
Well,
yeah,
that's definitely one way to do it.
yeah, whatever works, I guess. Kondraki begins to move towards the Keter containment sector. His clear his clearance by bypassing the automated security systems. Proceeds to the next checkpoint. All mobile task forces are alerted to the situation. 083 is slowed by the security checkpoints and further resistant by site security. SCP-083's regeneration is able to keep up with any wounds inflicted. Sites put on full alert, and all forces are redirected to the Keter containment. Dr. Kondraki continues to pass through checkpoints and arrives in a large containment room with a single door opposite to the entrance. Dr. Kondraki's security clearance is unable to clear the last checkpoint. He pulls an object from his coat, resembling a conical? I think that's how that says. Resembling a conical
Yeah,
object
conical.
with a pistol grip. 083 arrives in the room, looks confused, and proceeds to the center of the room. Dr. Kondraki is no longer visible. SCP-083 approaches the door. Kondraki's voice is detected. The appearance of SCP-408 reveals him standing near the entrance to the room. A verbal exchange is observed before Dr. Kondraki speaks into the handheld object. Visuals confirm it to be a megaphone of insignificant make. Tremors begin to rock the area as several stress factors are opened on the wall with the door. The containment of Keter level threat SCP 682 is compromised. Do you remember which one that one is?
682. No, I do not. Would you like to remind
That's
me
the Immortal
before I
Lizard.
freak out? Oh my gosh. You gotta be kidding me, man. This dude cannot cause that much destruction off of one instant. Why is the Immortal Lizard in every single containment every single time?
Um, uh, yeah, it just happens. It just happens.
It just happens. Like, is the Immortal Lizard also the omnipresent lizard? Because he's everywhere at once, dude.
Well,
It's just like,
he's just a
why is
fan
he
favorite,
here?
so a lot of the authors like to use him in the story because you kind of know what you're getting
Oh
with the
my
Immortal Lizard because
goodness.
he's so well known.
Yeah, but you also know what you're getting with Shy Guy
That's true, I suppose, but Shy Guy
and,
doesn't really have
Cain and
a
Abel.
need to
But that's a
kill.
different story.
Anywho, I think we should end this right here and save this for tomorrow. Uh,
Ay, ay, ay.
because
Cliffhanger.
this seems like the perfect place to stop with him camouflaging himself with an SCP and then using seismic tremors to break the Immortal Lizard's enclosure while SCP-083 is standing right outside. Yeah, it seems like a pretty epic place to stop. So what do you think he's
Well,
gonna do? What do you think his plan is?
dude, this dude doesn't have a plan.
He also grabbed cable from another place, like indestructible cable. What do you think he's gonna do with that?
Dude, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he does some Joseph Joestar type crap. Honestly, if you told me that Dr. Kondraki just suddenly started using Haman, I would accept it at this point. it seems to be it seems to be things just kind of get worse and worse for him, but yet he's still alive. I don't think he's dead, honestly. I don't think they terminated him.
Well, yeah, he's too good. They're probably keeping him as the
Yeah,
secret op. Well, anyway, this is where we're going to end it today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you liked it, leave a like on the video and leave a comment letting us know you made it all the way to the end. That'd be great. And we'll see
yeah.
you
Check out my
tomorrow.
channel for my demo reel.
Yeah, check on Keyshawn's channel. We play D&D that he records on there, and he's got some animation stuff there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. See y'all tomorrow.